Call the meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Trish.
Mrs. Brew?
Here.
Mr. Kramer?
Here.
Mr. Mangini?
Here.
Mr. Oja?
Here.
Mr. Pop?
Here.
We're moving on to the approval of the agenda. We do have an addition, number 12, approval, Sturgeon Hydro Block Start Study. Do I have a motion with that addition?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with the addition.
Support.
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Mr. Mangini?
Yes.
Mr. Oja?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes. Move on to the approval of the minutes. Is there any questions, or I would need a motion on the minutes?
I make a motion on the minutes.
Support.
Mr. Mangini?
Yes.
Mr. Oja?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
We'll move on to the approval of the manifest 2018-20. Scott, do you have any questions?
Excuse me, Ray, do we need two approvals for the minutes? Or no?
With the two
Grant, are you okay with approving both the special meeting and the regular meeting in one motion? And we mark it as such?
I think you should, because it was designated just as meeting minutes but not special, I think it should be designated special. If the motion would have included both, I would have been fine with that, but since it just said the meeting minutes, I think it should be designated again on the second motion should be made for the special meeting minutes as well.
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion for the special.
Support.
Mr. Oja?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Mr. Mangini?
Yes.
Now we'll move on to the approval of the manifest 2018-20. Scott, do you have any questions?
Just one question. Page 3 of 7, local streets. Moyer excavating topsoil for Boulevard. How much topsoil did we get for 200?
I will have to look that up for you, Scott.
I know everything's been pretty close to the same. Just wanted to make sure, there's no number on there. That's all I got.
Brett?
I have nothing.
Lee?
Going back to what Scott had mentioned, the topsoil, it says for boulevard restoration, is that for routine maintenance, or is that anything to do with the
That was on the
boulevard work that was done with the water and sewer?
We helped them out because we wanted to make sure we had good topsoil, and so we had topsoil within our for our pile.
Okay.
So that was part of that boulevard restoration.
Okay, and page 5 of 7, under wastewater, about halfway down, supplies, Amazon.com, lockout, tagout, equipment, WWTP. Was this in the original project, or is this kind of an add-on something, or what's the deal?
No, that was something that did come up when we had the panels, the new panels, and there wasn't a way. We have two parallel pumps, and there wasn't a way of locking out an individual pump, and it's mainly in one of the lift stations where it was noticed initially. And so we investigated what's the best way to safely and follow our lockout tagout procedure, and this particular lockout procedure and lockout system was chosen through working with our safety director.
So is this above and beyond the project down there then?
This is, I was going to ask Bruce if we run this, we're going to prove it through the manifest, but if we run it through the project, because it really, it came from project.
That's where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
Because I think that should be project.
It met the code, but it was very inconvenient for the operators to comply with the total ultimate safety philosophy, okay? Because pumps are downstairs and upstairs, and so Mike had to, and the way to make that easier for him was to do this stuff, and he ended up buying some of these lockout things in order to enhance the convenience of them being able to do what they needed to do. Now,
Well, there wasn't just convenience though, because in the way the system was installed and designed, you had the two parallel pumps. One has to operate while you work on the other.
you
And-
could do that. You actually, it could be done, it couldn't be done very easily or without gearing up.
You had to put FRC clothing on, and it was quite an ordeal.
Now, as far as, you know, it probably could be an eligible project cost. The question is whether you would have to run it through Dunlop's contract or not. I don't know, you know, that's a Brendan question. You know, I think certainly if it was run through Dunlop's on a change order, I don't think there'd be an issue. But to do it as through yourself, like the informal solicitation thing, we'd want to check with her, I think, before we would submit it. You can approve the payment.
Well, and that's why I put it out there, is because, you know, this was purchased online. It's a system that we,
Well, I'm all for the safety aspect of it, it just
How much was it?
I was gonna try and put it,
$2,200?
$2,200.
$2,200.
I'm gonna try and run it through the project, we'll talk later.
Yeah.
Just that it's on the manifest for payment, so we can pay them.
I guess if you approve it, I mean, that approval doesn't go over. If we find out that it's an approvable thing and she tells us how we gotta do it, we'll just do it how we have to do it. You know, may have to come back on a summary of payments thing. So I don't know, maybe you don't wanna approve it, right? I don't know.
Well, you can approve, we'll come back with some
Well,
payments, but,
what I'm going after, I feel that should come out of the project.
yeah.
That
I
money
agree
should
with
come
you,
out of the
and we're
project.
gonna try and
do that.
do that, definitely. We're gonna try and run it through.
I agree with that.
And one other comment here, on these charge card fees, we still keep losing ground. We've been working on this for a couple of years now, and I keep harping on it. We got to get that fixed. That's all I have.
Jeremy?
Just got one, it's more of a question as to what it is. Page 2, under refuse, the 250 garbage ordinance tags.
When we have a violation on a garbage bag or garbage can or weight or volume, there's a tag that we put on the bag or the can. There's pre-made tags. So it's a block of tags that David has in his office. and-
So they know why it wasn't.
Yeah,
done.
they have them in the truck, and it's there, they tag the bag and write on it, say, contact city or whatever it is, you're in violation. It's usually volume or weight, those are the two.
That's all.
I don't have any questions. Do I have a motion on the approval of the manifest?
I'll make a motion, we approve manifest 2018-20 in the amount of $550,533.72.
Support.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Mr. Oja?
Yes.
Anyone wishing to address the council on an agenda item can do so now. We have nobody. We have no public hearing. We'll move on to approval, Sturgeon Falls Hydro Runner Replacement Project Order Number 6. Mr. Anderson.
All right, thank you. This particular change order was, again, something that came out from this past summer. If you remember, one of our meetings, we talked about the alignment issue in the unit number 2. We did deal with the site work alignment, but there was some engineering work. Unfortunately, last meeting, we had a change order as well, but we did not have the paperwork for the meeting, and so I did get the paperwork shortly after the meeting, and so we put together this change order number 6, which is for $16,316.
Is there any
That's the change
questions
orders.
on that?
How many more of these change orders for this project are we expecting?
I imagine a project this big is probably going to have a number of change orders still out there, depending on, I know that when we get into unit number 1, you're gonna have a similar type of issue, we assume, plus you'll have double the runners, so this one has 2, that'll be 4. So we'll try to package those into more of a single change order. But anytime you get something that's complicated, you're probably gonna see, I would think we're gonna probably see twice as many.
We're getting quite a few for
Yeah.
one side already. I know we're going to the other side, we're gonna have more, but we're getting quite a few on one side.
Yeah, you can probably expect the same type of alignment issue on the second side, the pedestal, the bearing pedestal, probably the same type. But like I said, we'll probably package those up see if we can package those up into a single change order rather than, multiple change orders like we've done. Outside of that, it's just if it pops up during construction. I wouldn't expect engineering and shop change orders though, other than this particular issue, which is an engineering issue. Probably one more like this on the Unit 1 side, but you'd probably be done with that.
If there's no other questions, do I have a motion?
Do they have actually, I do have one question. Do they have a line item on their project as well, categorized? Like where they are in relationship to Unit 2 in their progress?
Like a progress report?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a Gantt chart that they have with progress.
Okay.
So, one of the things I'll try to do this week, now that they're on site again, is try to have project meetings. So we have to schedule project meetings, and that's where we'll go through and talk about progress, percent complete, where they're at.
They're on site now?
They're on site now. They were on site last week, and then the runners are expected from the shop, a delivery of maybe Wednesday or Thursday this week. So, once they start coming in though, I really would, I was going to reach out to you guys if you wanted to come down and take a look. And then we're going to have our electric utility board meeting on the 31st, which should be a really good time for seeing the installation.
Do I have a motion?
I don't like any of these change orders, but we gotta make sure we get it right, and it has to be done, it has to be done, so. I'll make the motion that change order number 6 for the Sturgeon Falls Hydro Runner Replacement Project between the City of Norway and Didestroll Hydro be approved for not to exceed $16,316.
Support.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes?
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Mr. Oja?
No.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Move on to approval USDA RD water project pay request.
Okay, we have 3 pay requests lined up here, one for water, one for sewer, and one for the wastewater treatment plant project. The pay requests for the water and the sewer are the final pay requests. As you see down on my motion suggestion, there is some language that you need to have included in the motion. For the water, the pay request is $5,188.75.
Any questions? If not, I need a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the invoice for the water project pay request in the amount of $5,188.75, and that the remaining loan funds to be ordered and applied as an extra payment on our loan after the above expenses are covered since the project is complete. We understand that these funds will be deposited into our construction account, and RD will provide more direction on how to make an extra payment. Support.
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Mr. Oja?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Okay, on the sewer, the final pay amount is $19,746. I did not include the language on this motion, simply because there's a grant component, and I'm still in discussions on how to handle that, those remaining grant funds.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that the Norway City Council approves the invoices for the sanitary sewer project pay request in the amount of $19,746.
Support.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Mr. Oja?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
Yep.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Okay, for the wastewater plant, we have a pay request of $3,945.65, which is going towards the SCADA control system.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the invoices for the wastewater treatment plant project pay request in the amount of $3,945.65.
Support.
Mr. Oja?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Oja, Kramer.
Move on to the approval traffic control order TC 18-03.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is a follow-up from our public hearing talking about 4th Avenue. We heard the public in the discussion of one-way streets, and it was highly recommended that we look at just the parking issue that goes along the south side of 4th Avenue, making the bus turnout area no parking during bus times. So that's the recommendation from the school, is to have signs put up and regulation for no parking during bus hours, which is 7:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m.
Do I have a motion on that?
Is having these times separated like that by just 1 hour going to be burdensome for enforcement?
No, because the times are on it, and they should know the times. They're up there anyway.
I'm just thinking, you get somebody who parks there at 2:15.
They'll get a ticket. I mean, if our cop is there, they'll get a ticket, because they'll be interfering with the buses. I'm sure the bus drivers will let us know.
Okay.
So, you know, we talked about just making it no parking, and I think it's gonna be more of a problematic with the events.
Yes,
and
with
everything.
basketball games.
Well, but I was more looking at the time being 7:30 to 3:30, not this 1 hour here, 1 hour there.
Yeah, that, they still have different events during the day,
Right.
you know,
The school, the elementary programs
Right.
at like noon or 1 o'clock.
yeah. The question I had was, if you have an afternoon event prior to 2:30, and if the event goes long, or, you know, it's elementary, and the parents park there, but then they don't get their kids out right away and move, and it goes past 2:30, that's where it's really gonna become problematic, you know, be an issue. I think, though, that, you know, if we can, you know, they know that they have to be out of there by 2:30, maybe they'll get in there and get the kids out. And
What actual time does the bus pull in?
this is the time they gave us. so it's
45?
On that.
They're usually sitting there by 2:35.
2:35.
Yeah. Right after 2:30, they're there.
Okay, is there any other questions, or I need a approval?
I make the motion that traffic control order TC 18-03 be approved.
Support.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Mr. Oja?
Yes.
I also want to thank everybody for coming out for that public hearing to help us make a decision on that. We'll move on to the approval Sturgeon Hydro Black Start Study.
We had Mr. Fairchild come at the last meeting, stood up during citizen comment and provided us information regarding a study, something the city has been talking about for a number of years, and Jesse, you know, has it as part of his work plan to, at some point, we were going to look at this. And then he has an opportunity now to have this study done with the students up at Michigan Tech. So he gave us that presentation, and then we were going to come back. The cost for that would be $5,000, and so it was a request to put it back on the council agenda to approve that study. I can answer any additional questions if you have any.
Anybody?
The contract we have with him is, could that come out of there? Is he, didn't we have like $30-some thousand contract with him?
Yeah, we
Above and beyond, it's gonna be above and beyond?
Yeah, and we've actually pulled back from some of that because it has to follow the project. So we have budgeted monies for Jesse, but we're not probably going to be able to get to it this fiscal year, because of the project. So we could utilize some of those funds that we're not going to use this year, to fund this study.
Do I have a motion?
Hey,
Oh,
hang on.
I'm sorry.
Do we have, I'd like to just see some more information. Is there a time frame at all on approval of this, or a time frame on letting, I think, was it Michigan Tech that we're going to be working with to do this?
It would be their semester,
Okay. So
during
is
the
it,
course of their school year.
so this coming, this
Yeah,
current school year?
right now is the students today are the ones that are going to do the study.
I guess
So it'll be during the school year.
I don't have any, is there a proposed agreement that there, I don't mean to put a wrench in things, but whenever we start talking about using taxpayer dollars to put towards anything, that my radar goes up.
We have a proposal from Jesse already. It's in there, I didn't have it tonight because Jesse wasn't available tonight.
Sure.
Because his grandfather is in the hospital, and so we were gonna actually have this come back the first meeting in November, but in talking with some of the council members, they thought, well, I've heard enough. I mean, this is something we were gonna move forward with.
Sure.
And so we put it on the agenda tonight as an addition. We have a proposal, which I gave you last meeting, which is part of Jesse's overall proposal, and basically, it's under his shield, but he's going to utilize the tech students to help him do this work.
Okay, so just to clarify, so it would be $5,000 to FDS,
It's to FDS.
and these students would be working with him?
Yes.
For the benefit of creating this the Black Start program. It'd be for the public good, for the public safety, and it would be under FDS's contract that
That's
we've used in the past.
That's correct. It is completely under FDS, his insurance, his liability. Like I said, back in the budget, in fact, I think if you pull the budget, we have one of his proposals, which has all of those different studies that we were looking, or different work items. And this one just happened to be on a phase 2. And because of his opportunity and being held up, I think too is with the project, not being able to get to the phase 1 type work, that he thought this might be a good opportunity. That's told him to come to the meeting, last meeting, he gave his presentation. So,
You okay with that?
With that explanation, I just wanted to make sure that was clarified, that it wasn't going to pay for students' tuition or go to pay the individual students per se, but it's being utilized for the public good, for public safety, and to help develop a plan for our dam and our hydro facilities to be able to operate should the issue arises under that scenario.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion, we approve FDS to perform the Sturgeon Falls Hydro Black Start Study for a price not to exceed $5,000.
Support.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes.
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Mr. Menigini?
Yes.
Mr. Oja?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Anyone wishing to address the council on any item shall do so now. There is nobody. And we'll move on to council comments. Scott?
Ray, I just got a question. Have you, going through with all this stuff with the safety with the school, we had talked about those street signs or street dividers or whatever for the crosswalks. We're going to talk about, maybe splitting the cost at the school would help. Have you had a chance to talk with them?
I did, and I was going to I'm sending some information up to the school, and I don't know what committee they run that through, but they thought that was absolutely appropriate.
Okay,
So I think that's going to happen.
good. Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I just want to also mention, since you brought it up, that the DDA has also agreed to fund some of the same type of signs on the Main Street.
On Main Street, on
Yep.
crosswalks.
Crosswalks.
That's a great idea.
Yep.
It really is, especially down by Pat's and the post office there. That one's used quite a bit.
That one, and then right here in front of City Hall, you know,
Yep.
people coming down the hill. And I think that's a good place for, because we do get a lot of cross-traffic
Yep.
here.
Yep. Good.
Brett?
I have nothing.
Lee?
I got a couple items here. I understand we had a very successful Leaf Erickson Festival. I'd like to thank everybody involved. Anytime we can bring people into this town, that brings money, which is good for the whole community. Also, a big congratulations to the LeBeau family for having their haunted house slash whatever you want to call it. It's
Haunt on the hill?
bigger, haunted, bigger and better than ever. And again, that brings people into town, gives Norway a good image. We even made the front page of the Daily News. And on a downside here, well, I shouldn't say downside, I noticed in a few of our in our statements from our law firm regarding the failure of our teacup system over there on the wastewater plant. I picked out 4 items that the lawyers were talking with us about this, and I just want to make sure that the billing for this is charged to who's ever responsible, and it's not the city. And I would like a total account of that. I may have missed some billing someplace before, but there were 4 little items this last time. Maybe there were some previous ones. Not knocking the law firm, just saying I feel that this whole teacup affair has been a mess, and
An
we...
issue.
This is an issue.
It's an issue.
Absolutely.
Okay. And on that note, that's all I have.
Jeremy?
Nothing.
I just want to thank everybody. I got a chance to go down to Leif Erikson Day. It was a nice day. We had a lot of people out in our community. Everything looked nice. Everybody who worked hard on that, thank you for doing that. And that's all I have for this week. Mr. Anderson?
I want to congratulate the Kleikamp family as Friends of Norway. I think they do a tremendous job doing with the Easter egg hunt, and I'm glad that they were noticed, recognized, and honored. So,
Yes.
and thank you everybody who showed up. It was a fun day and well attended. So, and thank you to the organizers for Leaf. They do a great job.
Grant?
Nothing, thank you.
Trish? No? I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Support.
Mr. Kramer?
Yes.
Mr. Menegini?
Yes.
Mr. Oja?
Yes.
Mr. Pop?
Yes.
Mrs. Brew?
Yes. Meeting adjourned.
No record. No record.
I tried.